It was past midnight when Sarah pulled her aging sedan into the flickering lights of a lonely gas station. Her little boy, Ethan, only 8 years old, was asleep in the back seat, his small hands curled around a toy car he refused to let go of. The world outside was quiet, almost eerily so, and the emptiness of the night pressed on her shoulders like a weight she had carried for far too long. Sarah was a single mother, worn down not just by the exhaustion of long work shifts, but by the constant fear of not being enough for her son. Tonight, she wasn't supposed to even be out this late. Her shift at the diner had run over, and then her manager had asked her to clean up after a spill. By the time she left, her tank was almost on empty, and she had no choice but to stop here. She prayed it would just be a quick stop, gas, maybe a cup of cheap coffee, and then home. But fate, as it often did, had other plans. A CTA1, if you believe in stories that show how kindness and courage can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Kindness Universe, so you never miss stories that remind us of the good that still exists in this world. As Sarah stepped out of the car, the cold wind made her shiver. She tugged her jacket tighter around herself and slid the nozzle into the gas tank. That's when she noticed them. 3 men loitering by the side of the convenience store, leaning against their beat-up truck. Their voices carried through the night. Harsh laughter, crude jokes, the sound of cans hitting the pavement. The kind of men a mother instinctively pulls her child closer from. One of them spotted her. "Well, what do we have here?" he called out, swaggering toward her. His boots scuffed against the concrete, his grin twisted with something dangerous. "Lady out here all alone, middle of the night. Ain't too safe, is it?" Sarah's pulse quickened. She avoided his eyes, hoping silence would discourage him. But it only spurred him on. The other 2 joined in, circling closer, like wolves that had just scented fear. "You got cash for that gas. Maybe you should share." Another jeered. He grabbed the nozzle, yanking it from her hands, spilling gasoline on the ground. "Please," Sarah said, her voice trembling. "My son is in the car. Just let me go." They laughed. "Oh, she's got a kid. Well, ain't that sweet?" The third sneered. "But daddy's long gone. Guess you get lonely." "Ha!" His words slithered with venom, making her stomach twist. One of them reached for her arm, and she jerked back, her breath catching in her throat. Her heart screamed at her to protect her son, but her body was frozen in terror. Inside the car, Ethan stirred, blinking sleepily, then waking fully when he saw the men crowding his mother. He pressed his small hands to the window, panic etched across his little face. "Mommy!" he cried, and that cry, sharp, desperate, split the night. For a moment, the men froze, startled by the child's voice, but instead of backing away, they chuckled, cruel amusement glinting in their eyes. Then, from the distance, a new sound began to rise. At first, it was faint, a low, steady rumble, like thunder rolling across the ground. Then it grew louder, closer, until it became unmistakable. The growl of engines, more than one, many. The men turned, squinting down the road, and that's when the night transformed. Out of the darkness, headlights appeared, dozens of them, cutting through the silence like swords of light. One after another, motorcycles roared into the station, their chrome glinting under the fluorescent lamps. The ground seemed to tremble under their power. They came in formation, tight and united, leather jackets bearing the same patch, an eagle with wings spread wide. Sarah's breath caught. She didn't know whether to feel fear or relief, but when the bikers slowed, encircling the gas pumps, their eyes fixed not on her but on the thugs, she realized she wasn't alone anymore. The leader, a tall man with a graying beard and eyes that carried both steel and sorrow, stepped off his bike. His boots hit the ground with finality. He didn't raise his voice, didn't need to. His presence alone was enough to silence the night. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, his tone calm but edged with warning. The thugs shifted, their bravado cracking. "Ain't none of your business," one spat, though his voice wavered. The leader tilted his head, glancing briefly at Sarah, then back at the men. His gaze hardened. "See, I think it is," he said. "Because when a mother and her boy can't even stop for gas without being harassed, that's everybody's business." Behind him, the other bikers dismounted, their heavy boots echoing as they formed a circle, surrounding the thugs with quiet, unspoken threat. Their engines still idled, a low growl in the background like lions waiting for a command. The biggest of the bikers stepped forward, his arms covered in ink, his expression deadly calm. "You heard the man. Time to go." The thugs glanced at each other, calculating their odds, but the numbers weren't in their favor. What had felt like power moments ago had now turned into a cornered weakness. "Fine," one muttered. "We were just joking around." The leader's eyes narrowed. "Then joke somewhere else." With curses under their breath, the men slunk back to their truck. Their tires screeched as they sped off into the night, leaving nothing but the acrid smell of burned rubber behind. Silence settled over the station. The bikers didn't move at first, holding their ground until the threat was truly gone. Then the leader turned to Sarah. His face softened, lines of concern easing into something almost fatherly. "You okay, ma'am?" Tears welled in her eyes, relief flooding her body all at once. She nodded, unable to find words. Her son flung open the car door, running to her, burying his face in her waist. She held him tight, trembling as the adrenaline ebbed. The leader crouched down, meeting Ethan's frightened eyes. "You're safe now, kiddo. Nobody's gonna hurt your mom." Ethan blinked up at him, still clinging to his toy car. "Are you superheroes?" he asked softly. The man chuckled, a deep, warm sound that carried years of hardship and humanity. "Not exactly. Just people who don't like bullies." One of the bikers returned the nozzle to the pump and finished filling Sarah's tank. Another quietly went into the store and came back with a hot coffee and a chocolate bar for Ethan. Sarah's voice finally broke through her tears. "Thank you. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't shown up." The leader straightened, looking at his crew, then back at her. "We ride these roads to make sure families like yours don't have to be afraid. You don't owe us thanks. Just keep going. Keep raising that boy. That's enough." Sarah realized then that these men, feared by many for their leather and tattoos, were protectors in their own right, guardians of the forgotten hours, the overlooked corners of life where darkness often crept in. She had spent years feeling small, powerless, abandoned by a world that seemed to take more than it ever gave. But tonight, as strangers stood watch over her and her child, she understood something she would never forget. Kindness often came from the most unexpected places. Her CTA 20. If this story moved you, remember to support Kindness Universe by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Every action you take helps spread stories of hope, bravery, and compassion to more hearts around the world. Later, as Sarah drove home, Ethan finally drifted back to sleep, clutching his chocolate bar like treasure. The hum of the road was steady, but her heart was anything but. It was alive with gratitude, with renewed faith that the world still held protectors, even in leather, even on roaring bikes. And she whispered a silent promise to herself, one she would carry forever. No matter how heavy life became, she would never lose hope. Because somewhere out there, kindness rode alongside her, waiting to rise when she needed it most.